I never imagined that friendship could grow into something that defied both reason and boundaries, yet that is exactly what happened with Ian. We met in the simplest of ways, two colleagues on the same project, sharing long hours, late deadlines, and quick conversations that soon stretched into full nights of laughter. At first, it was nothing more than companionship, the kind that eases the weight of a long day. But there was something in his voice, in the way his eyes lingered when I spoke, that unsettled me in the most disarming way. Every evening after work, Ian would call. His excuse was always casual: I just needed to clear my head, or I can't sleep, thought I'd check in, but beneath his words I sensed a need that mirrored my own. I, too, found myself waiting for the sound of his voice, as though my day wasn't complete until I heard it. Our conversations traveled far beyond surface chatter. We shared secrets from our childhoods, regrets from our past, even the fragile dreams we never dared to tell others. Slowly, the line between friendship and something deeper began to blur. When Ian laughed, it wasn't just sound, it was warmth, flowing straight into my chest. When he sighed in silence, I carried the weight of that pause as though it belonged to me. I found myself memorizing the details of him, the rhythm of his speech, the way he repeated certain phrases, even the moments of hesitation when he seemed to fight words he wanted to say but couldn't. The truth is, I had begun to love him long before I admitted it to myself. It wasn't sudden, it was a slow-burning awareness that crept into every moment we shared. Each night became our ritual. We would talk until exhaustion tugged at our voices, yet neither of us wanted to hang up. There was a comfort in his presence, a strange kind of safety that came with being seen without judgment. Still, underneath all that safety, a quiet storm brewed: desire, unspoken yet undeniable. One night, after a particularly heavy conversation about choices we regretted, the silence stretched longer than usual. I could hear Ian breathing on the other side, slow and uncertain. Finally, he said my name in a way I had never heard before, soft, careful, almost like a confession. That single moment altered something fundamental between us. It wasn't the words themselves but the way they carried weight, an acknowledgement of feelings neither of us dared to articulate. From then on, everything felt charged. When we met in person, every gesture seemed layered with meaning. His hand brushing mine as he passed me a file, his eyes holding mine a second too long, small, ordinary moments that suddenly burned with significance. I should have resisted. I should have kept our bond safely within the realm of friendship. But I didn't want to. The closeness had already become essential, like oxygen. The complication, of course, was that Ian was not free. He had a partner who loved him, someone who trusted his loyalty. That truth should have been enough to halt my thoughts, to remind me of limits I had no right to cross. Yet the more I tried to suppress the growing ache inside me, the stronger it became. Love, once awakened, is not easily silenced. The first turning point came late one evening when we sat side by side, working through unfinished tasks. The office was nearly empty, shadows stretching across the walls, the hum of the air conditioner filling the silence between us. I reached for a pen at the same time he did, and our hands collided. Neither of us pulled away immediately. His fingers rested against mine just a little too long, his gaze flickered toward me, and in that suspended moment, everything unspoken screamed louder than words. Ian finally withdrew his hand, his face a mixture of guilt and longing, but the air had already shifted. We both knew it. Something had begun, something neither of us was prepared to stop. As I walked home that night, my mind replayed the brief contact again and again, as though it were a promise carved into my memory. By the time I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, I understood, our friendship was no longer innocent. The path ahead was uncertain, dangerous even, but irresistible. And deep down, I sensed we were already too far gone to turn back. Ian stood still as I continued trimming the last strands along his neck, but the atmosphere had changed. It felt heavier, almost electric, as if every motion carried a meaning neither of us dared to acknowledge out loud. My heartbeat thudded in my ears, loud enough that I worried he could hear it too. Almost done with your back, I said, aiming for a tone of casual professionalism. The words slipped out awkwardly, betraying the nervousness I tried to hide. Take your time, Ian replied, a peculiar softness in his voice. I'd rather you be careful. He trusted me, more than he should, maybe. And I was too willing to accept that trust, even though my conscience whispered warnings like a quiet alarm. When he turned to face me, chest bare and glistening with leftover shaving gel, I lost the ability to pretend this was ordinary. His expression held no embarrassment, only a quiet vulnerability. Ayan was fearless in so many parts of life, sports, academics, social circles, but here, stripped of pretense, he looked almost delicate. Can you help with the front as well? He asked, and my throat tightened. There was no logical reason to refuse, yet instinct screamed that this was a threshold, one we shouldn't cross lightly. Still, my hand reached for the razor before my mind could argue. I've got you, I whispered. That he nodded, as if reassured by something far deeper than the words themselves. As I started shaving his chest, I focused only on the motion of the blade gliding smoothly across his skin. But the closeness made rational thought feel distant, unreachable. Each breath he took lifted his ribcage toward my hand, creating a rhythm we unintentionally shared. You're really saving me here, he said, eyes flicking down toward my concentrated face. I'd be totally lost without you. You'd figure it out, I answered, though my voice came out quieter than intended. A moment of silence passed. Not uncomfortable, just intense. The kind of silence that forces truth into the air. You've always been here, he said suddenly. No matter what's going on with me, you show up. The statement hit deeper than I expected. That's what friends do. He gave a small, frustrated smile. Sometimes, I think you care more about me than I deserve. I paused, razor hovering mid-stroke. The words echoed like a confession disguised as humility. Maybe we all deserve someone who cares, I said, careful but honest. The steam around us had thinned, and the bathroom mirror slowly regained clarity. Our reflections appeared side by side, two silhouettes standing too close for comfort. I looked away quickly, grounding myself in the task. My phone vibrated again. I didn't move to check it. Ayan's eyes lingered on the device before shifting back to me, his expression unreadable. You and Faison are okay, right? He asked, tone lowered. The question startled me. Yeah. We're fine. Fine, he repeated. That word sounds like a placeholder, like something you say when the real answer is too complicated. I sighed. He wasn't wrong, and he knew it. It's just been different recently. Ayan nodded slowly. You know you can tell me anything. That sentence, simple as it was, felt too intimate. I swallowed the ache rising in my chest. Maybe one day. When I finished the last part of his grooming, I handed him a towel. He wrapped it around his waist, then stepped closer, close enough that I could see tiny droplets on his eyelashes. You're shaking, he said, voice barely above a whisper. It's just concentration. I lied again. He reached out, just one hand, resting briefly on my wrist. A touch so light, yet undeniably deliberate. You don't have to pretend with me, he murmured. The contact lingered longer than necessary, but neither of us pulled away. The weight of the moment pressed in from all sides, fragile yet unignorable. Finally, he released my wrist, letting his hand fall to his side. The absence of his touch felt louder than the touch itself. Thank you, he said, with sincerity that made my chest tighten. I forced a small smile. Anytime. But we both understood, this wasn't any time. This was different, this was dangerous. As Ayan walked out to get dressed, I remained in the bathroom, gripping the edge of the sink, staring at my reflection. My face looked conflicted, my eyes too bright with something I didn't want to name. The mirror showed a truth I could no longer deny. We had crossed a boundary that no razor could clean away, and the most terrifying part was how much I wanted to keep going. I splashed cold water onto my face, hoping the shock would erase the guilt tightening my chest. But guilt doesn't wash off. It lingers, stubborn and sharp. When I finally stepped out of the bathroom, Ayan was sitting on the edge of the couch, towel replaced with fresh clothes, hair still damp. He stared at the floor as though deep in thought. The room felt different now, quieter, but charged with something unspoken. My hand still tingled where he had touched me. I considered pretending nothing had happened, but the air refused to cooperate with denial. so, I said, desperate for normalcy. Ready for the shoot. Ayan lifted his gaze slowly, his eyes warmer than before, as if he saw me with new clarity. Yeah, he replied. But, thank you again. You didn't have to help me. I sat down a careful distance away. I wanted to. He studied me, expression softening. You always do. The words hung between us, heavy with meaning. I looked away just as my phone buzzed once more, this time, louder, insistent. I grabbed it reluctantly, expecting another gentle check-in from Faison. But the screen revealed a missed video call and a message, call me when you can. I miss seeing your face. My chest constricted. The simple message suddenly felt like evidence against me. Without thinking, I locked the screen and set the phone out of sight. You should answer him, Ayan said quietly. The remark startled me. You saw. Hard not to. His voice wasn't accusing, just sad. Maybe even jealous. He cares about you. I know. The admission tasted bitter. But lately, it feels like we're holding on to memories instead of each other. Ayan leaned back, exhaling slowly. Relationships are messy. So are friendships, I said, managing a tense laugh. He didn't smile. Do you regret helping me today? The question was unexpected. Vulnerable, no, I said truthfully. I regret how much it meant to me. Ayan's eyes widened slightly, but he didn't pull away. Instead, he leaned closer, elbows on his knees, voice a murmur. Why did it mean so much? The room felt too small for honesty, yet too silent for lies. My pulse pounded like a confession trying to escape. Because I care about you, I answered. More than I probably should. The moment stretched, delicate and dangerous. He turned fully toward me, knees nearly touching mine. Up close, I noticed a subtle tremor in his breath. You're not the only one confused, he whispered. My heartbeat surged. Ayan, I've been thinking a lot, he continued. About the things we don't say. The reasons we spend so much time together. The way I feel when you look at me like that. His honesty struck like lightning, unexpected but illuminating. I felt seen in a way that terrified me. And then his hand moved, slowly, toward mine. Our fingers brushed, a feather-like contact that sent a shiver through every nerve in my body that I should have pulled away. Instead, I froze, suspended between desire and dread. We can't do this, I breathed. I know, he replied. But tell me you haven't thought about it. I hesitated, and that hesitation was its own answer. He leaned in, not enough to touch, but close enough to erase all doubt about what he wanted. Our foreheads nearly met, breaths mixing in a silent confession. My phone buzzed again, louder, vibrating across the table. The sound shattered the spell, dragging reality back like a slap of cold air. I recoiled slightly, and Ayan blinked, as if waking from a dream. That would be him, he said. There was no bitterness, only disappointment. I stood, pacing a few steps to calm the storm inside me. Maybe we just crossed a line without meaning to. Ayan rose too. Or maybe we crossed it because it was already broken. His words hit like truth I wasn't prepared to face. I grabbed his jacket from the chair and handed it over, forcing distance into my voice. You should go. Your shoot is tomorrow. He accepted the jacket slowly. Right. As he headed toward the door, he paused with his hand on the handle. He didn't look back when he spoke. Some feelings don't disappear just because we ignore them. The door clicked shut, the room fell empty, but my emotions crowded every corner. I sank to the floor, pulling my phone into my hands. The screen still glowed with Faison's name. My thumb hovered over the call button, trembling with guilt and longing. Ayan hadn't kissed me. I hadn't confessed everything, but somehow, the betrayal had already happened, because emotional lines, once crossed, can't ever be redrawn perfectly, and this story, whatever it had become, was far from over.